We have very interesting naval news for you today, but first, a word from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by Fabulous, the #1 self-care app to help you build better habits and achieve your goals. Habit changing and habit building are hard. Fabulous makes it easy for anyone to develop and stick to healthy habits thanks to science-backed daily routines. Fabulous is an app that allows you to create a routine of positive, healthy habits. After you install Fabulous on your mobile device, you'll select a few habits that you would like to begin to or improve. These include self-improvement, mental health, physical fitness, mindfulness, and much more. You can even create your own unique habits if you like. Now that you have a daily routine established, you can begin your journey of behavioral change. Premium members will get digital coaching sessions specifically designed for morning, afternoon, and evening. Fabulous is based on behavioral science. It breaks down scientifically proven healthy habits into very small tasks that you can easily achieve every single day. Their work relies on decades of experimental scientific research. A team of 5 behavioral economists improve the app every day for their over 30 million users, overcome the barriers that prevent the users from implementing behavioral changes that they want. I use Fabulous to help me take time for my mental health. I do a meditation session every day as part of my mental routine to help me stay focused and stress-free. Start building your ideal daily routine today. The first 100 people to click the link below get a 25% off Fabulous subscription. Click the link and be fabulous. All right, our first story comes to us from thenavalnews.com. This piece written by the entire Naval News staff here on March 1st. They say the second Virginia-class Block 4 submarine is delivered to the United States Navy. This one's the USS Oregon, SSN 793. Was delivered on February 26th, and it is the 20th Virginia-class nuclear-powered submarine and the second of the Block 4 variant. And I'll tell you what that block has unique to it here in a minute. But first, let's read from the piece and see what they say. The submarine force's newest attack submarine, USS Oregon, SSN 793, was delivered on February 22nd. Pre-commissioned unit Oregon is the 20th Virginia-class that has been produced by General Dynamics Electric Boat and Huntington Ingalls Industries, Newport News Shipbuilding, or HIINNS, through a long-standing teaming agreement. So they're building these submarines together. So Oregon is in excellent condition, and the captain and crew have expertly taken the ship through her paces, said Captain Todd Weeks, the Virginia-class program manager who rowed the boat during the sea trials. So this is an external full-bird captain in the Navy that just observes the crew operating the ship during sea trials. And so he's kind of, he's not attached to the chain of command. He's there for the sea ride and making sure everything works and stuff like that. So delivery of the Virginia-class submarine is culminated almost 10 million work hours by shipyard builders under exacting standards imposed by Naval Sea Systems Command and naval reactors. Can't forget them. Very important naval reactors. The Virginia-class submarines are built to operate in the world's littoral and deep waters while conducting anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface ship warfare, strike warfare, special operations support, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, irregular warfare, and mine warfare missions. It does it all. That's what makes these Virginias so valuable, is they do so many different missions, and they do it while not being detected, which is huge. So yeah, you could send out a destroyer into, to transit the Straits of Taiwan, or you could even send it into littoral waters if you wanted to, or you could send a littoral combat ship into littoral waters, right? But they're all going to be detected. You send into Virginia, and unless they make a mistake, it's not going to be detected. It's a very quiet, powerful, fast submarine that has incredible strike capability. All we do is keep adding weapons to this submarine. Anyway, back to the piece. The submarine sponsor was Mrs. Dana Richardson, wife of former Chief of Naval Operations Admiral John Richardson. It's good that she got to do that. That's awesome. And let's see what we got down here. Okay, Block 4 submarines are going to be 792 to 801. Incorporate design changes focused on reducing total ownership cost, or RTOC, by making smaller scale design changes to increase component level life cycle of the submarine. The U.S. Navy will increase its periodicity between depot maintenance availabilities and increase the number of deployments. This is huge. By removing one maintenance availability, you add several deployments to that schedule. And I believe they're expecting to get 15 deployments out of the Block 4, which is, I believe, the Block 3 and before were maybe 12 deployments. So additional deployments means more time on station, you get more bang for your buck with relatively small incremental changes to the design itself. The Block 3 submarines, which was the previous version, are fitted with Virginia payload modules designed to lower costs and increase missile firing capability. The first 10, Block 1 and Block 2 Virginia class, have 12 individual 21-inch diameter vertical launch tubes available for firing Tomahawk land attack missiles. The Block 3 were built with 2 of the larger 87-inch diameter. These are very large hatches, each that holds 6 TLAMs, so a total of 12 because they have 2 of them, right? And that's the Virginia payload module. Very, very capable stuff. And all this stuff, this is very important, is modular. So they can make improvements to one module and put it in the next block, which is what they've been doing. It's a very efficient way to improve your submarines without having to design a whole new submarine because you found new technology to make your engine room better. You can do the engine room module, make it better, or the payload module better, and stick it in the next version of the Virginia class submarine. It's a brilliant design idea, and it works. It saves us a lot of money, and we're getting a lot of bang for our buck by building these submarines very fast, getting them out there. So, and then they have the schedule here of when construction began and all that stuff. I would encourage everybody to go to navalnews.com and check out this article. And congratulations to the Navy. We're getting another very capable weapons platform out there, and we're going to need as many of these as we can get. You know, I've always said that I want to build lots of Arleigh Burke Block 3s or version 3s and lots of Virginia classes of any block really, but Block 4 and better are awesome because they have that Virginia payload module. And let's get these out there in the fleet. And this is what's going to be, you know, our projection of power in the 21st century at sea are going to be those. The carriers are nice and shiny and great in peacetime, but whenever war begins, you're going to want submarines and very capable warships like the Arleigh Burke. All right, let's go into the second story here. Got another one for you, talking about increasing our ability at sea. We've got new vessels that are being transferred to the Third Fleet. This story comes from navalnews.com again, and it is written by the Naval News staff. They say SCO transfers unmanned surface vessels to the U.S. Navy. So the Defense Department Strategic Capabilities Office, or SCO, officially transitioned the Ghost Fleet Overlord program to the Navy's Program Executive Office, Unmanned and Small Combatants, or the PEO USC, during a ceremony in San Diego. That was on March 3rd. So there was at least these 2 vessels. I think there's more than this, but we'll go with these 2 right now, are going to be deploying with our fleets in the Third Fleet. Probably going to be forward deployed in the Pacific too. I think over in the Asian theater. We'll see. They told us about this intention last year, and here they are following through with it, adding unmanned vehicles that will have weapons on them to go out and provide, you know, offensive capability and defensive capability for our vessels. These ships do a lot of things, from mine warfare. They can carry SM-6 missile modules on them, so they can act as kind of an arsenal ship, or a battery anyway. I wouldn't call it an arsenal, but yeah. And there's no people on board, so there's no loss of life if one goes down. And we're gonna, if we get to our 500 ship Navy, the way we're gonna do it is by having over 100 of these unmanned vessels. That's the plan. Now let's see what the piece says. Navy Vice Admiral Stephen T. Collier, Commander U.S. Third Fleet, was the keynote speaker. He said, "The future of our fleet is a formidable manned and unmanned team," said Collier, "where unmanned systems work in concert with and enable enhancing capabilities of manned platforms, driving to an even more distributed, more lethal force." And distributed is really the key word there. That is one of the big changes we're making in the United States Navy now, is instead of having arsenal ships like the Ticonderoga with over 120 some VLS tubes, we're going to take those VLS tubes and put it out over many ships all over the fleet. So if we lose a ship or two, we don't lose a lot of capability all at once, as if we had lost, say, one Ticonderoga, then you lost over 100 missile tubes right there. So we are diversifying the capabilities of our fleets across the fleet. Okay, so the SCO initiated the Ghost Fleet Overlord program in 2018 to accelerate the Navy's adoption of unmanned and autonomous systems. In partnership with the Navy, the objective of the SCO Overlord program was to convert large commercially available vessels to autonomous operation. Designers installed perception and autonomous systems, automated improved ship's system reliability for extended missions, and developed the command and control communications architecture. So this stuff is all driven by command and can be driven by itself once it's given like points, waypoints and stuff. It goes out to waypoint A and then on to waypoint B, or you can drive it in real time from a different ship. And it has reliability improvements to keep it going so it doesn't need maintenance as often. And it's on platforms on ship hulls that are already used in the commercial civilian side of sailing. So we didn't have to build a whole new ship. We just took an existing ship and made it work for our needs. Again, all cost and time saving. It's a great program. To think that they got this far in only about 4 years, from concept and testing to operation. 4-year turnaround is quick for this. The Strategic Capabilities Office partnered with the Navy Unmanned Maritime Systems, specifically from the beginning of the Ghost Fleet Overlord program, says Jay Dreyer, Director of Strategic Capabilities Office, that's SCO. At transition, this enables PMS 406, the larger team of the operators, warfare centers, and industry to not miss a beat, continue advancing this technology, and provide real capability sooner. This is what the SCO does best, integrating mature technologies to accelerate service priorities and create new capabilities with the warfighter. And that's a much better, much more elegant way of telling you what I just told you about how they take existing systems and make them work for the Navy. During the program, Overlord USV prototypes, Nomad and Ranger, those are the two ships we looked at the beginning there, took part in multiple fleet level exercises and demonstrations. They traveled over 28,000 nautical miles in autonomous mode and tested numerous payloads, including the SM-6 I told you about. The advances achieved in autonomy, communications, and payload integration by Nomad and Ranger are a catalyst for developing the Navy's future USV programs of record, and acquisition of 2 additional Overlord USV prototypes for continued Navy experimentation and development. So they're going to get 2 more for more development. So this does look like it's literally just these 2 ships. I know this program is bigger than these 2 ships, but I guess these 2 are definitely going to the fleet, and it doesn't say if any others are going. But we have a wind-powered system, basically a sailboat that can, there's one that's going through the Pacific right now. They have a fleet of like 12 of them, but I know at least one of them is at sea right now, and it's being used to map the bottom of the Pacific. It's going to take years, but you know what? It's solar-powered, it's wind-driven, and it's autonomous. So there's no one out there wasting their time for years mapping the bottom of the Pacific. And so it's that type of technology and capability that we're employing in the Navy now, beginning this year in 2022. And, don't forget our hypersonic development is continuing, and that'll be a nice pairing to have autonomous vehicles with hypersonic capability in, say, 2025, 2026, whenever that comes around. Look forward to that. All right, so this has been Naval News for today. Thank you all for watching. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Fabulous, and I hope you guys do click the link below and support this channel. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Why are you still here? Go click the link.